Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News, and we have Daisy on the Nick Viall Files podcast, the hit podcast Viall Files. Got Daisy here to discuss her season of The Bachelor, why she refused to be the Bachelorette, and that song about her sucking those nuts. I don't know what to tell you. It's a song. I mean, it's a keto friendly song as far as we know. Nuts are power foods. Love a good pistachio. You don't want to break a nail, but we love a good pistachio. If you're eating pistachios, get a butter knife to crack them open or use the shell of one pistachio to pop open another. But either way, that's neither here nor there. I'm already digressing. But hey, it's Friday, is it? No, it's Thursday. Whatever. Almost. Maybe when you watch this. So here's what Daisy had to say. Let's jump into it. She was on Viall Files podcast. He gets all of the hit stars of reality TV. And here's what she had to say.
Yeah.
For love.
Yeah. So there's like a few reasons. So one, my health is an aspect of it. Okay. And I knew as the lead, it's a lot on you. Not only emotionally, but also physically, too.
It sure is, yeah.
There were a lot of, because you were the lead, but...
She's like, back in your day, you were the lead when my mom used to watch. Okay, so anyway, she's talking about the mental health hit of being the lead and why she doesn't necessarily want to do it.
You're up super late, you're always...
It was the worst experience of my life.
So it's it's nonstop. And I talked to a lot of past leads when it was in talks with me, and I just knew from the health point it would be a lot. And then I also it's not that I'm not ready to date, it's that I wasn't ready for that specific thing.
Right.
And I think coming off the show and doing the show, I didn't realize how much of kind of a big thing it is, if that makes sense. I think right now I just want to live and be happy, and I'm always going to jump at opportunities, but I think just this specific opportunity wasn't right for me right now.
So obviously your health aspect, which makes sense. And when you say health, I totally understand if you don't want to, that's personal information per se, but what specific, because you're right, physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm kidding when I say it's the worst thing I ever did, but it is very taxing. It is.
Look, you get paid 150 grand after lawyers and taxes. Let's call it 75 grand, right? And then you can't take gigs because you're on another contract for 2 years as the Bachelor. When you're a contestant, you're only on the contract for 1 year. So that's one extra year where you have to turn down money. And in some cases, you actually might be making more money by being off the show if you've already built up a following. Daisy has built up a pretty decent sized following. So theoretically, she could do just as fine by not being on the show as she could by look, she's almost at 1 million followers. She's doing really good right now. What is she going to get if she becomes the Bachelorette? 1 million followers, but she's at 833,000. On TikTok, she's doing just fine by herself. I think when you weigh out the pros and the cons, you go, look, the juice isn't worth the squeeze for you to control my life. Smart move.
It was the most challenging thing I've ever done, because you're right. It's 18-hour days for 8 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
You're emotionally responsible for your feelings and 30 other men.
Can we get anyone who works in masonry or drywall or carpentry? Can we get anybody that does heating and air conditioning in attics in the summertime to weigh in on how emotionally draining this is? No, I understand the point. I understand. But come on, you're not going to war. But I get it. It's tough. Shooting schedule's a lot.
And that's a lot. But other than your health, and if you are able to elaborate more on the biggest concern of where you're at in that kind of journey with your health, but what else scared you about that process?
I think... Well, just not getting enough sleep and all of that stuff. I knew they would take care of me, and they made it very evident that they would. Also, the fact of hurting other people and being in that process. There's usually around 30 people. You can't send everyone home at once. You know what I mean? And what if I didn't actually like them? I don't think I could actually sit there and kiss somebody. And
it's brutal.
You know what I mean? So I thought really long and hard about all of it.
She's giving a disinterested hand job. Can you imagine? She's just scrolling through. What? Are we done? Next date? Okay, come on. That's a metaphorical hand job.
A lot of it wasn't an easy decision.
She's look, you made it to Fantasy Suites. I'll give you an old fashioned. Why don't we do that?
I was wondering after it got announced, how I would feel if I would be I wish I would have done it, but I'm so happy right now that I didn't.
That's great.
Yeah, so it feels like good. Like I know I made the right decision for me.
Good for you. Most people in your position, including myself, don't have the guts or the, I guess maybe even the emotional maturity to say no to an opportunity like that.
Yeah, and I think I know when things are getting too much and when it would be too much for me. And like I said, I'm not someone that just easily like turns down opportunities, especially something like that. But there's also so much I want to do, and like right now, I just felt like it was important that I kind of take control of my life. And
You know, like I said before, the thing they're not discussing is the contract. We saw this with past bachelorettes. I know past bachelors and bachelorettes that had to turn down what could be between $50 to $150, $200,000 brand deals because they have to get them approved by the Bachelor. So like if you were on the show, you can't, be the Bachelor and then 6 months later have Love Island want to give you 50 grand to promote Love Island, right? The show controls what you can and cannot do to the extent of money coming in and things like that. And it's complicated. So she still will be under contract for another, 10 or 11 months or so. But that's a whole year and a half. So the contract works. It's 2 years, as far as I know. It might have changed. 2 years from the final day of airing. So the next season of The Bachelorette doesn't air till the fall of 2024, which means it would be until the fall of the spring of 2026 that she wouldn't be able to make money on her own terms. No. So she turns it down, and of course, Maria does as well. Let's go to the 48-minute mark. This is where they talk about the ill-fated music video. We'll play it a little early here.
Show about people finding love, and the lead does have a lot of say in who they bring forward. For example, when I was named The Bachelor, I wasn't off my last season of The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
This is all to say, if down the road, maybe a year from now, if all of a sudden they were going through their current options and they thought, who would have been great? That Daisy Kent. What's she up to these days? Are you willing to leave the door open for maybe in the future as a role that you might be, being the Bachelorette might be a role that you would consider down the line, or are you pretty content with letting that go away?
Right now,
the smart answer is I can't decide what I'll do in the future. That's the smart answer, because who knows? Your star may dim a little bit, and you go, all right, I'm not getting the brand deals. I could use the extra $100 grand. I mean, it would be a hell of a lot better to be the Bachelorette than it would be to work minimum wage at a fast food restaurant. And by the way, I've done that. It sucks. Let's not pretend like that's a good thing to do. You got some little league team coming in. Where's my fries? Oh, shut up. You're slipping on canola oil. No one wants that. I'd rather get heartbroken than slip on another greasy canola oil rubber mat.
Content with letting that go away, and I know most people might not understand that. And I think if you were to ask me, like even a year ago, like, did you think like this would be a possibility? I would be like, oh my gosh, 100% I'll do it. And it was interesting too, because everybody, I was posting on social media so much, and they're like, oh, she just wants to do The Bachelorette. She's like campaigning to be The Bachelorette. And I was like, no.
Quite the opposite, actually.
Quite the opposite.
And so it wasn't, your decision wasn't based off of proving anyone wrong either?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah. No, it was definitely something, like it was just about me.
It's also reassuring to find out that it wasn't your music video that did.
Yeah, I know. I saw your podcast, and then there was so much on that. I was like, no.
Now, we covered the music video 2 months ago. We're the hipsters of covering we did it before it was cool.
Oh, it wasn't because of that. And I know it wasn't because one, like
you had already decided.
Yeah. And then like that had already been on the internet for like forever. So long. Yeah. Like they all saw it. Like some of the producers would like call me laughing. I'm like, I know.
When was that, by the way?
It was like 4 years ago.
Are you a singer? You are a singer.
Well, very nice voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really?
Of course. It was a video. It's been taken offline, I guess, because it got so much attention. But she just played a part. She played a part in someone's music video. If I had to guess, she didn't know the lyrics that he was rapping because she filmed her part separately. I could be wrong. Let's see if she discusses that.
But when like growing up, I played piano, taught myself how to play guitar. I was always in like theater and did choir and stuff. And then I would like sing for fun. And then I started losing my hearing, and I was kind of like, I'm just gonna like record as many covers as I can And because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this ever again. So I just recorded like myself singing all the time. It was kind of like my outlet in a way. Yeah. And then I did that.
I mean, your part was gorgeous.
I want to be clear. I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Honestly, I've been talking to people about it. And it was a point in the show where like, I was kind of like fizzling out, I feel like. And then all of a sudden that got resurfaced. And I was kind of back in it. So I was like, you know. But
it was great. Yeah, I sometimes forget about...
And it was just out of pocket too, I feel like, because people are like, sweet, wholesome girl on the Christmas tree farm.
I mean, your part on the song was still fairly sweet and wholesome. You know, cut to following I don't know, sweaty balls or something. I don't know, sacking nuts.
I think we were just all wondering, like, what's the context of the song? Like, was that one of your friends that you just featured on?
Great question coming in from the producer. What's the context of the song? Is there a metaphor behind sucking my nuts? Is it about the government? Like, suck my nuts, government! I'm not gonna, was it tax season? And he's like, I owe 1,700, suck on these nuts, USA. What was it? Good question.
Actually,
like a Romeo and Juliet thing, like two lovers.
Are you talking to each other?
Yeah.
So he's one of my best friends since like 4.
I got it. Hold on. Maybe there's this new disease out there in this sci-fi reality that we don't know about. And in this disease, there's medical, doctors and scientists, and there's little flasks and goblins and steam coming up, and they're trying to find out how to cure this new pandemic that's out there. And some guy goes, man, I can't figure it out. Suck my nuts. And then some other guy goes, great Scott, that's it. And he goes, what? And he goes, try some saliva. And they find out there's antibodies in the saliva, but the only way for the antibodies in the saliva to penetrate the sort of orifices that exist here that are permeating the disease is you need to coat genitalia you need to coat the genitalia with saliva. So they tell him, just do it. Do what? Just suck my nuts now. And then they find out and they go, breaking news. There is a cure for the new pandemic out there. It turns out, and hold on folks, please take this seriously. It turns out we need to start sucking each other's nuts now. And then in order to start a PSA to get people to suck each other's nuts, we have this guy going, you know what? I will speak to the people. And then it bestows upon us this music video.
4th, 5th grade, probably.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we've just always been best friends.
And then once all the rubble is cleared after this pandemic, it's one of those vast wastelands, this post-apocalyptic world, and you think almost everyone's dead at this point. But then the suck my nuts saliva comes and everyone realizes they can cure each other. And then from the rubble, from the ashes, what grows up at the very end of the movie, of this post-apocalyptic sci-fi movie, is a single daisy flower. One daisy. And at that point, we know Earth will replenish itself and the saliva from sucking each other's nuts saves the world. I don't know.
He's very creative. Like, he's awesome.
Summer blockbuster, they're calling it in the chat section.
And the thing that I love about him is like whenever I was like holding back from like doing something, even like after the show, I was like, maybe I should stop like posting on social media so much. And he's like, no, like keep doing it. Like he always kind of pushes me to step outside of my comfort zone.
That's great.
But yeah, we did that.
When did that happen? When did you make the video?
Like 4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years ago.
And it was interesting though, because that was a time when I was really sick too.
There it is. They made the video during the pandemic. I'm telling you, suck my nuts is a metaphor for social distancing. Weirdly,
Lyme disease, and so like every once in a while, I would have a day where I like felt okay, and that day I like felt okay, and he's like, "Do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?"
Did you know his lines?
I remember him like singing or like going over them to me, and I was like, that's interesting. And then I went home and I was like, Mom, listen to this. And my mom's like, I don't know, Daisy. And I called her when it was like going all over like the internet. And my mom was like, I was like, Mom. And I was like laughing. And she's like, what's going on? I was like, remember that like music video of Brandon's I sang on? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, it's like going
Everywhere.
all over the internet. And my mom starts laughing. She goes, you know, Daisy, and my mom's like always so supportive of me. And she goes, you know, I get it. I get why these people are.
She's like, I get it. It's wildly, wildly offensive. Okay, you can go check out that full interview. I personally don't feel like this was a waste of 10 minutes of my life. I enjoy some irreverent humor. And yeah, sure, let's hear more about her cochlear implant. That's all fine and daisy, but also we want to know about the Suck My Nuts video. That's what the people, give the people what they need. Okay, and certainly she has, which is a hit music video that allegedly, in some other parallel universe, may cure COVID. All right, folks. Well, have a fantastic day. If you want to catch me live, I'm on patreon.com/Dave Neal, and I will be back with you for another afternoon episode of Bachelor Rush Hour. If you want to get all of your entertainment news in one place, join us over there. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.